What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Say it now! Do we want it? Now! Say his name! Karmelo! 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 What do we want? Justice! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Justice! When do we want it?
Yeah, I can only imagine what it would have done to the jurors.
Yeah, there were no cameras involved, but our Cody Thomas was able to bring the courtroom to life during the trial with his notes. He is making his way, of course, into the courtroom, and he'll be giving us the color of the courtroom. We'll be getting it and passing it along to you, and then eventually when the verdict is read, which we do believe will be very soon, we will pass that along to you in real time. So let's get a break now, and when we come back, our continuing coverage of the breaking news. There is a verdict in the case against Karmelo Anthony. Back with that verdict right after this.
My brothers, we need to be up front. We need to represent for our sisters. We need to fight for our sisters. We need to fight for our community. They're always up front. We always fight. They want freedom. They want protection for our community. They want protection for our families. Free Karmelo. 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 Mello! Mello!
He had to take the look on that boy's face. Protect himself. See the look on his face in court. They was bigger than him. They was bigger than him. Your hands to your big bullies. That's serious.
For our sisters. We need to fight for our community. They always up front. They always fight. They want freedom. They want protection for our community. They want protection for our families. Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo! Free Karmelo!
Welcome back to Court TV Live. The breaking news: there is a verdict in the case against Karmelo Anthony, which will be read soon. The parties are gathering in the courtroom. The jury was out just under 3 hours before coming to a unanimous decision. They had two choices on their ballot, three actually: guilty of murder, guilty of manslaughter, or not guilty. What has this group of 12 decided? We will find out momentarily. As you can see, outside of the courthouse in McKinney, Texas, emotions are running high. This has been a case that's been very polarizing from the very beginning, as we see a standoff here, one of many that we see play out during this case. Undoubtedly, whichever way this goes, this will be a chaotic scene outside of this courtroom or courthouse. Police presence has been very intense, according to our Cody Thomas, who is making his way inside the courthouse. He'll be sending out live notes once he gets into his place. The rules that have been set by the judge are very stringent. So getting in and getting out is a process. As we continue to watch the just emotional, this is a horrible scenario outside. Two people with different views of what they believe happened here going face to face. Karmelo Anthony, of course, admits that he stabbed Austin Metcalf at a track meet last year after the two came face to face under a tent during a rainstorm at the track. Well, it was raining. And since then, this has been the face of it. What we're seeing outside that courtroom has been slow burning for the last year. These were two young men whose lives were changed forever. Karmelo Anthony immediately admitted that he stabbed Austin Metcalf. He even asked, how is he doing? Immediately. He seemed concerned after the stabbing. Now it's up to this jury. Not only will the jury decide guilt and innocence, but this same jury, if they find him guilty of one of the two top charges, they will decide, if the defense wants them to, that's Texas law, about the penalty. And if it's murder, that penalty could be anywhere from 5 to life in prison, 5 to 99 years. Of course, manslaughter carries a much lower potential penalty. Michael Jaffer is watching along with us. He is a national trial attorney. And Michael, we've been watching this case unfold through the eyes of Cody Thomas, and I'll cut you off. My apologies if we get word from Cody on either what's going on in the courtroom, of course, if there is a verdict. So, first of all, your take on this. This is, I mean, it's heartbreaking to watch because there was no camera in this courtroom. Each one of these sides believes they know the absolute truth. It's somewhere in the middle, and it's up to a jury. Your thoughts?
I mean, this is tragic. To see the scene outside of the courtroom, it just breaks my heart, right? At the end of the day, it seems like it's torn a community, and it's very sad. At the end of the day, look, It really comes down to the concept of proportionality, right? You brought a knife to a fight that did not involve a knife, but at the end of the day, is that justified? It could be justified. There are instances where it is justifiable, force to use a knife to defend yourself against someone who doesn't have a knife. A, you don't know if they have a knife. B, you don't know even without a knife if they could kill you. C, you don't know if they're trying to kill you with or without a knife. But at the end of the day, to the other side, to the prosecution, you caused the death of another person who was unarmed. Right? The worst case scenario that person could have given you, according to the prosecution, was just beating you or hitting you or bruising you. But other people can say, and I remember specific cases where a group of kids at a high school punched another kid, and this was a national case, and the kid died because his head hit the wall after he got punched and fell and hit his head on a brick and then died. So somebody could say, hey, I was in fear for my life. I used a knife. I pulled out the knife. I didn't use it, and they kept coming at me. So, like, I'm just saying in general, because you don't really know what happened. You have testimony on both sides, and the question then becomes, is there reasonable doubt? Look, if there's a robot looking at this case, if the jury was comprised of robots, I think there's reasonable doubt as to whether or not he committed manslaughter or murder. I think if a robot was on the jury. But man, these jurors are human beings. They live in that community. This case has gripped that community. That's why I'm riveted to see what the jury, look, honestly, I don't care if I spend till midnight to find out. I'm going to watch and see what this jury verdict is, because it could also inflame that community if they come back guilty on murder. I mean, I think this community is just gonna, it's like a powder keg at this point. It's just gonna evaporate. So we'll see what happens, but that's my analysis on the law.
Again, these are live pictures outside of the courthouse in McKinney, Texas, where inside the parties have gathered because a verdict has been reached in the case against Karmelo Anthony. Austin Metcalf was 17 years old when he lost his life in this fight between Karmelo Anthony and himself. And as Michael just said, Austin Metcalf pushed Karmelo. Karmelo returned with a knife that he pulled out of a bag. It was a very small knife, 4-inch pocket knife, which was not illegal to have in his possession. It was against school policy, but it was not illegal for him to have it in his possession. And the defense argued in their closing argument that Austin Metcalf had no legal right to force Karmelo from that tent that he was in. That was part of their argument. For the state, they argued you cannot bring a knife to a fist fight. These live pictures, we'll continue to show them outside of the courthouse, but we don't have a camera. If you're just joining us or you haven't followed this case, we have the next best thing to camera, and that is our Cody Thomas. He's inside the courtroom. He's making his way inside through security, and he'll be able to send us out in real time observations in the courtroom once he's settled, and then of course the verdict. Right now we have it up. We're waiting for anything from Cody. So far nothing, so he's making his way inside the courtroom. But again, there is a verdict in the case against Karmelo Anthony. Michael Jaffer, the choices are murder, manslaughter, and not guilty. There's also the element of that this same jury will, if the defendant wants, decide punishment. And it's wide-ranging. Even on the top charge, it's 5 years to 99. If you're representing Karmelo Anthony, do you want the jury to decide penalty, or would you rather the judge decide that? And does it matter on what their verdict is? Let's assume that he's guilty of one of the top two. That's the scenario, of course, that would play out. Otherwise, there is no sentencing. What do you think they'll opt for if indeed there is a guilty verdict here?
Love this question, and here's the answer. Both things are true. It does depend on the jury, on the verdict, obviously. If it's murder, if it's a top charge, I don't want them going anywhere near it. But secondly, it comes down to the judge. Every attorney will tell you, don't tell me the law, tell me who the judge is. It depends on the judge. These defense attorneys know this judge. They've practiced in front of this judge. It's a very, very, very small, close-knit community. I'm not talking about that city. I'm talking about the community of defense attorneys and judges. We all know each other. We all respect one another. So it depends on both the verdict and the judge. So first of all, it's a non-starter for me to let the jury decide the punishment if they come back on the top charge. I don't want that jury anywhere near it because I have no idea what happened in that room and which leader was able to impress upon the other people. Clearly, I lost. But if the verdict comes back as if it's not guilty, there's no sentencing. But if it comes back on manslaughter, then I go back to the second part of the analysis, which is who is the judge? If the judge is somebody that I know has a background, has worked in the inner city, worked in communities, represented. If he was a criminal defense attorney, I'm letting the judge decide the sentence no matter what. If the judge was a criminal defense attorney, because they didn't just go to law school and become a judge. They did something. What did they do before? But if they were a prosecutor, I'm not letting that judge decide the sentence because a prosecutor will just basically throw the book almost all the time. So that's the answer to the question. These attorneys already have their idea of what they want in case their client is convicted of anything.
Yeah, when you factor in the 3 hours, not a lot of time when you have a multi-day trial of this magnitude and a high-profile trial. Every one of the jurors in this case, Michael, has been told to not factor in the community, not factor in the fact that this is high-profile, but they know that the world is watching, and specifically everybody in this part of Texas is watching. And that matters, does it not? That, yes, they know that their decision is going to be reacted to, and we're seeing it playing out even before the decision comes in outside of the courthouse.
Yeah, again, Ted, this is very, very, very sad. And watching what I'm seeing on screen is very, very sad. Yeah, I mean, listen, imagine, I see how this stuff comes about, right? You're sitting there in whatever community you are. In this case, it's in Texas, right? And you see a case, you hear a fact pattern, you come to a judgment. Obviously, you don't have all the facts. And you say, oh, this was sad, this shouldn't have happened or should have happened, right? But if you come to the conclusion that, hey, a young man lost his life. He went to school one day, his parents got a phone call not telling him, hey, your son has a nosebleed, but your son is dead, right? And so you come to a conclusion. And then when you see other people outside the courtroom protesting not in favor of the death, but hey, Mr. Anthony did nothing wrong, then you're going to come and you say, I'm going to go protest. And then the whole thing becomes inflamed. It's very sad. At the end of the day, none of us know more than those jurors about what we saw in this case. So coming back in 3 hours, I would say from multi-day trial, it just to me seems like rash. Either way, whether they convict him or whether they acquit him, I feel like this required a little bit more deliberation than a few hours. I mean, even half of that 3 hours was not even deliberation. It was taking a poll and everything else. So at the end of the day, this is going to really whatever happens, there's going to be some sort of payback to the community there as a result of this.
It seems as though, and we're gonna get a break in because we still haven't heard from Cody, who's inside the courtroom. He is sending out messages to us, meaning that he is just getting settled and going through security and all of that. So let's get a break in now. We'll continue to monitor what's going on outside the courthouse, and then as soon as Cody starts transmitting messages, we'll be able to give you the color from inside the courtroom, and then ultimately the verdict when it is announced. Again, the breaking news at this hour: the jury in the case against Karmelo Anthony has come to a verdict in under 3 hours. We'll have more of continuing coverage right after this.
want you to know that, bro. It's not okay. I thought the police were good. I used to look up to my uncle. How can I do that when y'all are complicit in the system? How can I support my family members when y'all are complicit in a system like this? I've had conversations with you. I still respect you.
Motherfuckers, ain't nobody gonna set me up on either side. Fuck, I'm out here. Why we giving a time for they been around for 20 minutes straight? They doing all the yelling they want to. Why the fuck they gotta be? Oh, we gotta look good. They from over here.
Did nobody say nothing to you? I'm just saying, did nobody say nothing to you? Nobody said nothing to you.
I looked at your ass yesterday.
You're a child. Shut the fuck up.
I just want to make sure he don't think he can fucking walk no way.
I wanted to fight our guy. You're not racist.
I seen a good of y'all long walk right now and they just like, you did that.
Your people going that way.
I'll fight him. What is I'm a monster. I'm working in front of this courthouse.
Why you leaving?
You protecting this now. This same way we over here talking shit about everybody. Who's scared, bitch?
Black lady that walked up on me.
All of you that are complicit in a system, you too. I see you. Yes, you. All of you are complicit in a fucked up system. And it's still peace, love, unity, and respect. Peace, love, unity, and respect. Peace, love, unity, and respect. Peace, love, unity, and respect.
Welcome back to Court TV Live on our continuing coverage of the verdict in the case against Karmelo Anthony. A jury of 12 has come to a unanimous decision. In under 3 hours, this jury is made up of all non-African Americans, which was a point of contention after jury selection by the defense. Outside of the courthouse in Collin County, located in McKinney, Texas, this is a live picture of the scene outside. You see heavy security, and many people have come out. And this has been the case throughout the trial, that people have come out because it has been a lightning rod, has this case been. There have been no cameras, there were no cameras allowed, so we have relied on our correspondent, Cody Thomas, but all of these people have relied on different news organizations to deliver the details of the trial as it's unfolded. And that, of course, makes a difference, because had a camera been allowed in this case, we all would have witnessed the exact same thing. Not the case in this trial. The closing arguments were done earlier today. Each side only had 35 minutes, and the state of Texas had the last word. And I want to read to you the last words that the prosecutor told this jury. It is your duty to hold this young man accountable for this senseless murder, and send a message that this will not be tolerated in this community. Make justice swift in this case. Michael Schaefer's watching along with us. He's a trial attorney helping us through our coverage. And Michael, eerie words, make justice swift. Indeed, one could argue that maybe this jury listened under 3 hours, coming back with a unanimous verdict in a case that many people probably thought would have taken longer to come to a conclusion of, with 10 or 12 separate jurors. You never know, obviously, but those last words, make justice swift in this case. If you're the defense, what are you feeling right now?
You know, this is what I call a toss-up in terms of the jury rejected one of the cases. They just outright, flatly rejected. They either rejected me as a defense attorney or they rejected the prosecution. Obviously, you hope they rejected the prosecution if you're the defense attorney. But they rejected one of the cases, and they are sending a message to one of the parties. One of the parties, they're sending a message that this is complete bunk. Your whole entire case is bunk. We didn't buy anything you said. I mean, again, 3 hours. Can you get 12 people to agree in under 3 hours on anything? Send a message right now in your company right now and ask everybody, where do you want lunch from tomorrow? Just send a message. If you have more than 12 people in your company, send a message. See if you can get everybody, 12 people to agree on what lunch will be tomorrow. You can't. It's not possible. And this is a life or death case, right? Life or death, meaning like they could convict this man to life in prison. Essentially, they could convict him of murder, right? Under 3 hours, 12 people. It's unbelievable. Can't even get them to agree on the flavor of sandwich I'm going to bring them, my staff, tomorrow when I cater. And sometimes I'll just have to cater from 2 different places because I give up on trying to get everybody to agree on where they want lunch from. So this is just
Michael, I got to cut you off real quickly here. We're getting notes from our Cody Thomas, who is now in the courtroom. He says that Karmelo's parents have walked in, and the Metcalfs have also just walked into the courtroom, and it appears as the twin brother Hunter is now with them. Hunter Metcalf, of course, was in the tent during this melee and did not testify for the state of Texas. Now, maybe he was being held as a potential rebuttal witness if indeed Karmelo Anthony testified, but we know that, of course, Karmelo Anthony declined the opportunity to take the stand in his own defense. But bottom line, just trying to set the scene for our viewers here. Cody Thomas is in place. As soon as the judge takes the bench, Cody is our only way of communication inside that courtroom as we watch the live pictures outside the courthouse. Quickly, Michael, on the Hunter Metcalf, he really was expected to be a huge witness because he was there. He and his brother both went up to Karmelo and confronted him to get out of the tent during this track meet. Didn't take the stand, but he wasn't in the courtroom either, which I opined was, well, maybe they were holding him as a potential witness, as a rebuttal, or maybe he's a young man, he just didn't want to be there during the gruesome reality of the testimony. Overall thoughts on the strategy not to put Hunter on during the case in chief, and then also the fact that he is, according to our Cody Thomas, now there and a huge part of this case.
I have to assume that it was not part of the strategy. I have to assume that this young man just said he doesn't want to testify. There's no way that there would be any strategy that would see you not having the twin brother not testify. He looks just like the victim, and he was there. He was in the tent. I don't think there was a strategy. I think the reason he's there now is because the case is over, and he might feel regret not having. How could you? I don't mean to make this kid feel bad. I hope he doesn't see me saying this, but how could you not support your dead brother, your slain brother, in your parents' quest to get justice for their fallen son, your brother? There's no way there was a strategy. I disagree
because he's done some interviews. I do think it might have been strategic in that, he was there, and his presence in there may have complicated the clean case the state maybe thought they were presenting. Because just judging from the interviews that he has done, it's clear that he was more than willing to talk about his brother and the loss that I mean, can you imagine losing your twin? Oh. But maybe the overwhelming reality of hearing about your brother's loss and the, you factor in the medical examiner, who knows? Bottom line is he didn't testify, neither did Karmelo Anthony, adding another bit of mystery because the jury didn't hear from either one of these players. There were three of them, right? There was Austin, who passed away, Hunter, and Karmelo. Those are the three that know what exactly transpired between the combatants.
Which makes it even more puzzling that he didn't testify. Listen, maybe it was his strategy. I just don't see how. If it was a strategy, Ted, it was malfeasance. It was a terrible strategy. If there was a strategy, that's why I gotta assume it's not a strategy, because the state of Texas put a lot of resources into trying this case, and clearly they've either won it quickly or lost it quickly. So I just don't see any strategy that the state could have cobbled together that would have told them, hey, it's a good idea not to put him on the stand. Karmelo not testifying, I can understand that. That's one that I totally get. But I just don't see, I can't even imagine a strategy. I can use my imagination. I still can't imagine a strategy that would keep him off the stand.
Sonny Slaughter is joining our conversation as well. Sonny, less than 3 hours, this jury has come to a unanimous verdict. Your initial reaction?
Oh, wow. It's fast. I wasn't expecting it to be long, but it's a little quicker than I thought. But they had a lot of evidence. Well, on the prosecution side, so I'll look forward to hearing what the verdict is.
What about what we're watching outside, Sonny? It has calmed down in the last few minutes. People seem to have gone to their separate corners, but that could change after this verdict, and they'll know right away.
Yeah, my hope is that everyone remains calm no matter what the verdict is, because none of what they do that is destructive, that is agitating or irritating will change the verdict or have any impact except a negative impact. So everybody, no matter where they are in the world watching this, everybody just needs to remain calm, don't engage law enforcement, and don't cause any problems, because it's not going to change anything. It's only going to make it worse. Okay, let's do this. Let's get a commercial break in right now, because our Cody Thomas is in the courtroom saying that parties are gathering. Both sets of parents are in the courtroom. The twin brother, Hunter Metcalf, in the courtroom just waiting on the judge and then the jury. Back after this.
I wish I could just watch live sports at home for a great price.
Sleepless, you do that. Sleepless, you do that.
Call me a nomad. Stay on the trees right now. Yeah, exactly.
Not thinking he's gonna put his hands on him. Not thinking he's gonna snap his I hate that. You know how they always say the children is see, that's what I was thinking. I used to have yeah. That's what I'm
They got police officers at the end that ask you, you know, you got to be official.
Welcome back to our continuing coverage of a verdict is in the case against Karmelo Anthony in McKinney, Texas. Collin County is the scene. This is the outside of the Collin County courthouse. Inside the courtroom, the parties have gathered, and our Cody Thomas is in place. We're just awaiting the judge to take the bench. He says that Karmelo Anthony is there. This is the first appearance of Hunter Metcalf. This is the twin brother. He was not called as a witness, but he is now in the courtroom. He hasn't been in the courtroom for any of the trial. This is his first appearance inside that courtroom, and Cody continues to pass along messages saying the courtroom is filling up steadily. Of course, security is very high. Both sets of parents are in the courtroom, Karmelo Anthony's parents, and of course the Metcalfs as well in the courtroom, along with their son, the surviving twin Hunter Metcalf. Outside the courthouse, of course, it's been chaotic over the course of the trial on some level, but we're seeing it bubble up now as news spreads that there is a verdict in this case. Karmelo Anthony admits that he stabbed Austin Metcalf at a track meet last year after the two got into a verbal confrontation underneath a high school tent during a rain event. Both sides have different opinions on what transpired next. The defense here is that Karmelo warned the Metcalf brothers, specifically Austin, that he had something in his bag and he better not touch him or else. When Austin Metcalf then pushed Karmelo Anthony, he did reach in, grabbed a 4-inch pocket knife, and stabbed the young 17-year-old to death. Along with us, Michael Jafer and Sonny Slaughter. We've all watched this trial play out through the eyes of Cody Thomas. And again, if I cut you off, it's because we're getting some transmissions from Cody. But Sonny, to you first here as we await this verdict. There are 3 basic scenarios. You've got guilty of murder, the top charge, which carries with it a potential life sentence. Next is manslaughter, put on the table today through the defense. The judge granted that. And then, of course, the third option, not guilty. How important is it for that jury and for the defense to have manslaughter on the verdict form?
I think it's really important because I do not feel like Karmelo Anthony had the initial intent or the intent to murder. I think it was reactionary. I think all of them should have calmed down. They didn't. And I just think, I don't think it was an intentional homicide, but I don't see this as a not guilty verdict at all because someone is dead, Austin is deceased, and that is a criminal act. So manslaughter is the best that they can hope for, and with a lower sentencing, but I do not see Karmelo walking out of court today as a free young man.
Michael, do you agree that's a long shot?
You know, I disagree with Sonny on this one. I think that there's a good chance he's going to be acquitted because here's why. There was only one testimony that I've seen is that he stabbed him one time. He didn't stab him multiple times. I do agree that he shouldn't have done it, and I do agree that it was maybe disproportionate. But there's a good chance that this jury is going to come back not guilty because they came back so. If this deliberation was 3 days, 4 days, I think I would tend to agree that probably they'll come back with manslaughter. But coming back in 3 hours, man, I can't imagine them coming back in 3 hours and finding him guilty. I feel like they're going to come back and find him not guilty. It's just I question the 3 hours. I just question that. So I think there's a good chance of that. But look, could it be that they came back in 3 hours with manslaughter and manslaughter was
got to cut you off. They are back on the record, according to our Cody Thomas inside the courtroom. The jury is heading into the courtroom. Karmelo is looking very serious but expressionless. Defense attorney has his arm around him. The tension is clearly high in here, not verbal, but you can feel it. That is our Cody Thomas sending notes to us because, again, if you're just joining us, there are no cameras allowed in this case, but it has been watched by people across the country and specifically for those living in the Collin County, Texas area. So we'll wait with bated breath until Cody types again, but the scene has been set. The jury has been called for. We do know what comes next. Guilty of murder. This is Cody Thomas. The verdict is guilty of murder, the top charge against Karmelo Anthony.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
yeah, wow. Indeed. We'll watch the crowd outside. They will start to get this information momentarily. And if we could keep that camera up on the outside there, because it'll just be a matter of seconds before this crowd reacts. There's a live look outside the courthouse as people have gathered. Again, if you're just joining us, Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty of murder, the top charge in this case after just 3 hours of deliberation. Sonny, besides which a lot of us are feeling, thoughts?
I was not expecting the top charge. I really was thinking that they would see manslaughter, still guilty, but manslaughter, different sentencing, but guilty of murder. So, you know, that's heavy.
Wow.
And I hope everyone just does not seem like everyone's going to be calm. It seems like we're going to have a problem there.
This is dumb.
You can see the...
this is dumb.
What is dumb, Michael?
I'm sorry, Ted. This is just dumb. This is stupid. I can't believe that this jury came back in 3 hours with guilty. I'm totally stunned. On top of that, this judge as well, not letting cameras in the courtroom. I mean, good job. Good job, Your Honor. Really, really, really good job. You handled it really, really well. You have this community that's about to get lit on fire. You don't allow cameras to go into a courtroom. The community already believes that this kid is being railroaded. And then look at what happened. Your jury came back within 3 hours for a guilty verdict for a kid who used a 4-inch knife one time, didn't use it multiple times. Was it wrong? Yes. But was it murder, like beyond a reasonable doubt? No. And was it murder beyond a reasonable doubt within 3 hours? Absolutely not. This is insane. This is dumb.
Cody Thomas saying that there are tears on Karmelo's side of the courtroom, and they're going into the penalty phase immediately. So this, no one is leaving the courtroom. They're going to now go into the penalty phase. There's a huge, Karmelo Anthony is a young man. He is now 19. And the sentencing for the top charge, in a lot of states, you're found guilty of murder, you're going away, sometimes for life without, or at least 25 to life before you're eligible. Texas is different. The range of sentencing here is 5 years to life in prison. So the decision making now, and we'll wait till Cody updates us whether the jury's going to stay and do the sentencing or if it'll be the judge. Boy, if I'm the defense, I'm getting that jury as far away from this courthouse as possible.
Yeah, 100%, 1,000%. I'm not letting this jury touch. I mean, I'm questioning the jury. I'm asking them, how did you reach your verdict? How did you reach it so quickly? What happened? It was a 4-inch knife. He used it one time. He was pushed. I'm not saying that it was right, but what are you doing? How did you get this verdict? I'd want to know. My whole identity as a defense attorney would be in question, right? I'm questioning my identity right now, and I have nothing to do with this case. How could you come back like that? I would be enraged. I'm enraged right now. This is very upsetting. And then on top of it, to compound it, this dumb judge didn't allow cameras in the courtroom. What was your wisdom? What were you thinking? How you put on a robe? Are you that much of an imbecile that you won't let cameras in the courtroom in a case like this? This is not a rape case. This is something different. This is something that's clearly the whole community is enraged. And you knew that before the trial started. So, I mean, this is very upsetting.
You can see the reaction. The crowd outside, of course, has received the news that Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty of the top charge of murder. And now inside the courtroom, they are moving to the penalty phase. You know, at this point, you do wish that the people that were supporting Austin Metcalf would just leave. To be honest, you know, the jury has come back with guilty. There is no need for Mr. Stars and Stripes to be standing there with his moronic, intimidating, stand-your-ground-ish, cliche look to continue to incite. You know, you won. Move on. Get out. Also joining us, Judge Kimberly Bando. It's been a while, Kimberly. It's nice to see you. Your reaction here.
If I'm the defense attorney, I'm already preparing my appellate brief. I want to poll the jury. I want to know one by one, is this your verdict? I already have my Batson challenge, enumeration error in my appellate brief. I'm already I'm pivoting right now. And I'm also trying to get some mitigation witnesses ready. He's a good kid, Judge. This was a mistake. We're remorseful. He admitted it as soon as the police stopped him. You have to pivot as a defense attorney and move on to the next phase. The verdict is in.
Cody Thomas saying that there's lots of crying in the courtroom as everybody absorbs this on Karmelo's side. Also, on the Metcalf side, tears. And again, they're going straight into the penalty phase. And Judge Bando, the jury makeup. There was a Batson challenge launched after the state used their strikes to get rid of the only 3 African Americans that were potential jurors. And they said this is because they worked for the school district, or a school district, and that's the reason they cut them out. Looking forward, is that reason enough in your estimation?
It may not be reason enough, but it's a substantial possible enumeration of error that I would definitely raise. That would be number one. That initially on the forefront of this, that my client was not afforded a jury of his peers. The state arbitrarily struck them as jurors based on their race, and not because you can be an educator and be reasonable. That doesn't automatically eliminate you from being a juror on this panel. Teachers punish, discipline, rehabilitating actually would be better jurors because they're used to dealing with these scenarios with children fighting, having difficulties. And that's exactly who you would want on the jury. And I would definitely argue that in my appellate brief.
Yeah, Sonny, I hear you chiming in as well.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with Judge. I was thinking manslaughter. I didn't think they would come back with not guilty. Manslaughter, because this was a crime. But so, since we are here, I am thinking that no matter who makes the call, I'm looking at, they're going to say 25 plus. I can't imagine, based on what we're seeing now, this, I just, I would like for everyone at the scene to just, it's better if they just move away, back up, because anything other, any riots or anything, that is just going to be problematic. I think this judge really did the most damage to this case by not allowing cameras in the courtroom.
Yes.
It allowed social media to fester, to foster. It allowed the hate to grow. It allowed the lies and the misinformation.
We're gonna get a break. Cody just said that they are going to be going into sentencing, and that the jury will be deciding punishment. And it looks like they're preparing some witnesses to call. So a short break inside the courtroom, outside the courthouse. This is the scene as people react to the guilty verdict against Karmelo Anthony in McKinney, Texas. More of our continuing coverage when we return.
He broke that. She was in there with him. She didn't want to be on camera. She broke down and cried.
So explain to me what.
When they came back with the verdict, he broke down and he cried. Son, that family nurse not good. That boy's not good. You been in there. I done talked to you before. You been in there. That boy smiled. That boy broke down and cried. They done fucked up the rest of this boy's life.
These people have been here every day. I know. You hear that verdict read. I saw you break down. Going through your heart.
Why do we have to carry him? Why are we even here? To be honest, why are we here? Well, we're here for, because if we take up for ourselves, we go to jail. If we don't, we die. So it's a catch-22 in this situation. What do you want us to do? What do you want us to do at this point? What? I'm lost for it. I don't know what to do. I got 5 boys. I don't know what. I ain't got nothing to tell them no more. You can't walk away no more.
Rest in peace, Trayvon Martin.
Let me ask you this. Right now, there's a lot of examples. I hear the frustration. Are you more...
And a goddamn pedophile. The president is. He's a goddamn felon and a goddamn pedophile. The president is.
I accept. He challenges me to mutual combat. I accept. Now,
Can we get some mutual combat?
you've been trolling this whole time. I accept. Woo! I accept. Let's meet. Let's meet. Let's go to Mexico.
Octagon. Get the okay from
Octagon. MMA rules. Muay Thai rules. Whatever you want. I accept. Whoa! Yeah. We're going to go to Mexico with it. Yeah. Mexico will get their revolution. I thank you.
He don't have shit to chat. Come on, yo. Fly across that screen, y'all. Come on.
I was just wondering if they were here. I was just asking.
They should be, right? Bro, that's
Welcome back to Court TV Live. And the breaking news at this hour, which we continue to follow out of McKinney, Texas, is that a jury of 12 in under 3 hours has found Karmelo Anthony, the 19-year-old, guilty of first-degree murder. The sentence, which will be decided by the jury in this case, is anywhere between 5 and 99 years. So it was a very disappointing verdict, obviously, for the defense. But there is still another battle to be waged, and that is to convince this jury to go on the lower end of the sentencing guidelines, which is huge. 5 to 99, obviously. There's a lot to decide. They are preparing for the penalty phase immediately. So our Cody Thomas is in the courtroom sending us notes real time. They've taken a short break, but no one is allowed to leave the courtroom. This same jury that decided guilt or innocence will decide punishment in this case. Karmelo Anthony, of course, admits to stabbing 17-year-old Austin Metcalf at a track meet in Frisco, Texas last year. He was underneath the Memorial High School tent, was Karmelo Anthony, but he didn't go to Memorial High School. And when Austin and his brother Hunter Metcalf, they're twins, approached him, they argued. And after being pushed, Karmelo Anthony reached into a bag and grabbed a 4-inch knife and stabbed Austin Metcalf to death. With one stab to the heart, he bled out. Hunter Metcalf, the twin, did not testify at trial, but he is in the courtroom now. And according to our Cody Thomas, there were tears when the jury verdict was read on the Anthony side of the courtroom, also on the Metcalf side of the courtroom. Outside of the courthouse, reaction is, well, you can see it live. There are many people gathered outside of the courthouse. There were no cameras allowed inside the courtroom. So because of that, people have gathered throughout this trial. And today, as word comes that there's a guilty verdict, there is reaction. We will monitor what happens both in and outside of the courtroom. With us to discuss, Michael Jafer, trial attorney, law enforcement expert Sonny Slaughter, and magistrate judge, criminal defense attorney, and former prosecutor Kimberly Bando. To you first, Michael. We were talking last before we took that break. Both Kimberly and Sonny were talking about the appellate scenario and the fact that this was not an all-white jury. There were 3 Asian females. I
can't hear you, Ted. Sorry.
That's all right. We'll work on Michael.
I can't hear. Sorry.
We'll work on Michael's connection there. Let's pick up our conversation, though. Kimberly, you could appeal all you want. We're talking years, and your odds of success in any jurisdiction, especially states like Texas, are frankly pretty low.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yes, to answer your question, years in the making. Right now, we know that the defense attorneys are now gathering all the witnesses, his parents, his friends, the pastor, the church, Boy Scouts, whoever, to get ready for this sentencing part of the hearing. And that's going to be very, very important. If we can get some school teachers in, the principal, anybody that we have who's willing to stand up and testify, because based on that instruction that the judge allowed about provocation, I am not hopeful that he's going to get a light sentence. Because the fact that the judge allowed that slight evidence to say that there was enough provocation to give that to the jury, I believe we're looking at a harsh sentence here.
According to Cody, in the courtroom, both sides have waived an opportunity for opening statements in this penalty phase. The state immediately rested in the penalty phase. The first witness for the defense is Kayla Hayes, which is Karmelo Anthony's mother. She is crying. Cody says she is having a difficult time with her testimony, saying, "He's my firstborn, will love him always. I love him very much. I know my son, and he's very sorry for what he did. Please have mercy on my son." Sonny, gut-wrenching for a mother.
Very. Yes, as the mother of 2 sons and 2 daughters, this is not a moment that any one of us wants to be in. Just like the Metcalf family, if it was reversed, nobody wants to be here in this moment. We all think we might know how to react. I remember when I found out my daughter was a victim. You don't know what you are going to do, how you're going to say it, how you're going to be in the moment until you are in the moment. But I do agree with Judge. We are looking at a harsh sentence. I said, I believe we're going to start at 25. I don't think there will be any mercy. I know they are doing the mitigation, trying to get everyone up. But at this point, I don't believe anyone will hear that. This jury came back so fast. I just think they have already set in their mind what the number is going to be, and the judge is going to do that. He committed a crime. Someone is dead. Austin is dead. I still think it was not intentional, and yet here we are. I did not think they're going to come back with a not guilty verdict. I did not believe that. I didn't think that would fit.
Right. I don't cut you off, Sonny. Cody saying that the cross-examination of Karmelo's mother, and the direct was very short. Basically, they just wanted her to get up there and say, please have mercy on my son, after saying that she loved him. The cross by the state was equally as short. The only question asked of Karmelo Anthony's mother, you'll always be a part of your son's life. You're a mother. You love him very much, correct? Meaning, no matter what, if he spends years in prison, you're going to visit him. That's the insinuation for this jury.
Yeah.
Cody now says both sides have rested in the punishment phase, so you had no arguments from either side and only one witness. Judge Bando, I would have had an army of people ready to go.
Are you kidding me? I would have had because if you're practicing in Texas, you know the drill. You have all the PE coaches, the Boy Scouts, everybody's in the hallway ready to go. We're on standby, we know this is happening. I am so highly disappointed that the only witness that they offered for mitigation is just his mom. No, we need other people. We need the whole community to say, this is a good kid. Judge, this is why the sentence should be this. Can we get an appeal bond while he's waiting? This is not the typical scenario. I'm highly dissatisfied that there's only one witness in this. This is so disappointing.
Michael Jafer, quickly.
Are they setting themselves up for an ineffective claim?
Well, that adds to the appeal, ineffective assistance right now. He's a 3.7. Yes, the jury heard about that during testimony early on, but this is the opportunity to get the math teacher on. This is get the jury to remember the good side of this, because they came back in under 3 hours and gave him the top charge of murder. Your thoughts on one witness and no close?
Effective assistance of counsel written all over it. I don't know how we got to this point. I'm still very, very, very stunned. And I want to congratulate the dumb, stupid judge on this case for keeping the cameras outside of the courtroom. We all know as attorneys and judges that the courtroom is the province, it's the stage of society. How dare you, sir? How dare you not allow the courtroom to have cameras? How dare you? You understand what you've done to your community. And this is now not just a Texas problem, it's an American problem. This is unbelievable. I'm stunned. I'm shocked. This was not a rape case. This was a case that needed cameras in the courtroom. I'm stunned right now. I'm honestly at a loss for words. Somebody more intelligent than me is going to have to explain to me why I'm the one that's dumb for saying that this judge is dumb.
Okay, well, let's get a break. Again, the breaking news. The jury now has the case again, this time for the punishment phase. The same jury that found him guilty now has to decide what to do with Karmelo Anthony. 5 is the low end, 99 years is the high end. Our continuing coverage from McKinney, Texas continues right after this.
I get him beat up. So what should they do in that situation? Since you don't want to answer, let me use that. You're just walking on the street and somebody beating up on you. What would you do?
It was a trap meeting. So how you feel about all the white kids shooting up schools in the teacher's mother? You know what I'm saying? How do you feel about white kids? You're a white man. You sound like a sociopath. Watch your bitch ass up. He does. He contradicted himself.
You're on both sides.
What I'm trying to get you out, he's talking to your fat ass. When you get in your car, you can drop dead.
Good? What is it? More stupidity? Yeah, it's just the same thing. As soon as they did take the cameras, well, you know, the two that were really that I thought was going to pop off was that dumbass white guy and the American flag and the black dude's on a skateboard. Yeah, he's. Oh, yeah, man. I thought that one was going to. My big old part had a girl come over and hit a female. That's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I was going to do. I've seen something like that more than a couple times. The girl like slaps or does something, and then they just go to shit like, yeah, we had our guys like, get ready to run. I guess you won. We get you one punch in, and then we get you. Hey, be safe, brother. You got anybody with you? No. Okay. Well, if you got so many. If you close around, I'll keep an eye out, man. I'll keep an eye out. Yeah, that's right.
We come to bring good news in a sad situation. Jesus Christ is Lord and God. Hello. He come to save that which was lost. He come to save that which separated you from a holy God. And that thing is sin. If we're going to protest, let's protest against sin. The very thing that causes us to go to hell for all eternity. Today is the day to give your life to the Lord Jesus Christ. He is the Lamb of God, slain before the foundation of the world was laid. Today is your opportunity. Tomorrow you may not get it. Life is passing away. Life is fleeting. Everything you see is temporary. Your clothes are temporary. Your body is temporary. Your job is temporary. Your career is temporary. Your money is temporary. You won't be able to take any of that with you on the day of judgment. You're going to leave it all here. And you waste so much time investing in something that is temporary. But that which is eternal, which is life in Jesus Christ, this is what you want to invest in. So today, before you leave this courthouse, give your life to Jesus Christ. We are all of filthy men. Filthy and dirty. Jesus is the holy God. Yes, you're filthy just like those people. But thank you. Who give up the rich?
But so far, things have remained pretty calm. Yeah, there's been no confrontations, no clashes, at least that I've seen from my perspective. But you do see the law enforcement presence, and also before that verdict was read.
Welcome back to Court TV Live and our continuing coverage of the breaking news out of the state of Texas. Karmelo Anthony has been found guilty of the top charge of murder by a jury of 12. They took less than 3 hours to deliberate before rendering their verdict for the stabbing death of Austin Metcalf during a school track meet. After the verdict was read, they went immediately into the penalty phase. The same jury that found Karmelo Anthony guilty now will decide his penalty. The range is anywhere from 5 years up to 99 years. They are currently on a break, a quick recess before they enter the charge conference where the jury will be given some instructions before sent back to the deliberation room to decide Karmelo's fate, basically. Both sides said no to the opportunity to address the jury during the sentencing phase. They could have done an opening statement, could have called witnesses, and could have done a closing argument. Both sides said no to the arguments in the statement. The only witness that was called was from the defense. It was Karmelo's mother, who briefly testified, saying that she loved her son. He was her firstborn, and she pleaded with the jury to please have mercy on her son. The state came back with a short cross-examination to say, well, you love your son, don't you? And you'll always love him no matter what, correct? Insinuating that a long prison sentence is not a problem. He'll always have his mother's love. So now it'll be up to this same jury. We're digesting the verdict and looking to these next steps. And we're also monitoring what's going on outside of the courthouse here in McKinney, Texas. A large gathering has assembled. And this has been a version of what we've seen each and every day of this trial. However, there are more people. Our Cody Thomas said today, as the case wound down, the closing arguments were presented and the jury received the case, the crowd started to grow, and that's where we're at now. The initial reaction, of course, with many in attendance was disappointment, but there were others there who were undoubtedly pleased. Both sides have been represented outside of the courthouse. Judge Kimberly Bando is with us, along with Sonny Slaughter. We've been all watching this play out through the eyes of our Cody Thomas, because again, there's no camera in this courtroom. And it is hard to understand the defense strategy here in the penalty phase. Both of you shaking your heads. Sonny, you first. Real opportunity to bring Karmelo to life. You know, he didn't testify. That makes a difference. He's a young man, and it just seems with what we know about him, which was presented, 3.7 grade point, going, you know, he was on his way to college. He was a two-sport athlete, no criminal record, didn't have, he should be, those things should be accentuated during the penalty phase and reminded to the jury, hey, listen, this, before you go back there. Didn't happen, Sonny.
No, it didn't happen. And the mother, she is being a mom, but she really should have been prepped to really talk to the Metcalf family and the jury about not just who her son was, but who he could be. And that in a moment of irrational thinking, he did the unthinkable. But that's not who my son is. And none of them were there. None of us were there. And we don't know what actually happened. We only know what people perceive to have happened, but that's not my child. My child has deep regret. My family has deep regret. He is a scholar. He has the opportunity to turn his life around. She needed to be talking about her son in the future to get them to see who he could be outside of this, and she was not prepped and ready for that. What she said was not enough to change anything. She also should have been speaking to the fact that what is going to happen outside, that everybody need to calm down. So that could also be relayed. There's so much in a mitigation part of a case, family members, siblings. I know, because I've been there. They could have done this differently. I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, to your point, this is a live picture outside of the Collin County Courthouse, where there's been versions of this throughout, where you have both sides coming face to face. You know, it's unfortunate. The verdict's in. There's really no need, Kimberly, for this. You know, I mean, frankly, what's the white guy arguing now here? Like, he's trying to, it's a powder keg. And if this jury comes back with a very, very long sentence, it's going to be even worse.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And we were on that break. This would have been actually a perfect time for us to hear from Karmelo. They should have put Karmelo up on the stand and let us see who he is. Let the jury read his demeanor, see him in his genuine form about how because at this point he's been convicted. So this was the opportunity for the jury and the defense to take advantage of and let Karmelo Anthony speak for himself at this point. I really think they should have at least put Karmelo up, if not just to, because his mother alone, we already know what his mother's going to say, that she loves him, he's a good kid. At this point, we should hear from Karmelo to see how he feels, if he's remorseful. That's going to make a difference when this jury decides how many years to sentence him to. Let us hear from him. I'm just so incredibly disappointed with the defense strategy of only putting up his mother and not hearing from anyone else, no other character witnesses. I just think was a disservice to Karmelo.
Yeah, and you know, they had the opportunity to put him on in the guilt phase. That's one decision. That's a different decision because of the cross-examination. Here in the penalty phase, it is a much easier route. You know, you're going, but someone had to bring this kid to life more so than just through opening statements through your attorney. And you know, a few witnesses that talked about his education during the case in chief, but this is it. This is sentencing time. These individuals are easily swayed. You know, they're people in the public, and they all could be touched. But you got to go and touch them, Sonny. You got to go try and remind them of the things that this kid does have going for him. A horrible decision on a horrible day, but even the initial officer that interacted with Karmelo said he did right away. He said, "I'm the guy. It's not alleged. I stabbed him. I stabbed him." He admits it. Then he says it was self-defense. So he throws up his. But then the third thing he says is, "How is he doing? Is he going to be okay?" And it was one stab. It wasn't multiple. A refresher course would have been nice, Sonny.
Yes, yes. And I also don't think that when he stabbed him with that knife, you know, most of the time, he's 17 years old at the time. He didn't probably think that that knife and where he stabbed him was going to do anything but hurt him, get him to stop, but not die. And because most of the time, young people don't even have that type of presence of mind unless they have a gun or something. But this is horrible. There are going to be a lot of people cheering for a very long sentence, but we don't know what the appeal could potentially look like. But I just really think that the defense team, as somebody who works for defense, I just don't think they gave their all. I don't think they did the type of job that was necessary for this type of case. And remember, I'm not saying Karmelo was innocent, because he was not. But I am saying that I just think this is going to come. This came back quick. I think it's going to be a high sentence. And I just don't think that the defense did everything that it could possibly do to mitigate a different verdict.
Yeah, we're hearing that Cody Thomas is making his way out of the courtroom, and will be able to come down and brief us from his vantage point of what happened during the reading of the verdict. And then that very short sentencing phase, one witness, no arguments, and now the same jury who found Karmelo Anthony guilty will be tasked with deciding what to do. What is the right punishment? There is a huge gaping void here between 5 years on the low end and 99 years on the top end. So this jury, who took less than 3 hours to decide that Karmelo Anthony was guilty of the top charge of murder, now has to decide where to land that between the 5 and the 99. Let's get a break. When we come back, we'll be checking in with our Cody Thomas. All of the reaction. He said in his notes that he could feel the tension in the courtroom. He's going to join us when we return. Stay with us. Welcome back to Court TV Live. We're continuing to follow the breaking news out of the state of Texas, in McKinney, Texas, where a jury found Karmelo Anthony guilty of the top charge of murder for the death of Austin Metcalf, the stabbing death at a track meet last year. The same jury now will decide the defendant's fate. 5 years on the low end, 99 on the high end. This all took place, of course, outside of our view because cameras were not allowed in this case. But Cody Thomas was in the courtroom. He now joins us from outside the courthouse. Cody, take us through it, starting with the verdict itself. Set the scene, if you would.
Yeah, Ted, that's the big headline today, right? The verdict, guilty of that top charge of murder. And as you just stated, 5 to 99 years behind bars. We were sitting in there. We were waiting for that verdict to come in. We reconvened once they let us know it was happening. We sat in there, waited for those parties to come back in, and then that verdict was read. And of course, we know the jury had the option of manslaughter if they chose that, but they did not. Clearly, they did not see this as self-defense. They thought this was murder. They thought he went in there, you know, in the altercation, there was intention behind what he did, because they really outlined the definition of murder before the jury went back to deliberate, that it was the deliberate, the intentional cause of harm or death by another person. So that's the way the jury saw it. And of course, Ted, the reaction in the courtroom, there was tears on both sides, obviously for two different reasons. You know, the Metcalf side feels that there's been, you know, vindication for their son's death. There's been justice served. But on the Karmelo side, of course, now Karmelo's going to jail for a very long time. We'll be seeing his family through plexiglass for a very long time. It's just sad all the way around. I'm observing both sides, of course. Again, tears from the Metcalf family, tears from that side. Karmelo just looking very shocked. They brought him out and they, you know, informed him that he's been reprimanded by the state of Texas. And then he went out for a little bit while they did a quick, they went out and then they reconvened for a punishment phase, a quick little punishment phase. His mother got on the stand for a few minutes just saying, you know, asking the jury to please have mercy on her son, saying that she feels, she knows her baby, she will always love her baby, and feels that he does regret this. He's very sorry. That's what she said. It was only about a 3 to 4 minute you know, time on the witness stand for that punishment phase. The state rested during that punishment phase. She was the only witness called. And then Karmelo, as she was talking, she was crying, obviously. He had his head down crying. But when he walked back in the room before she took the stand, Ted, he just had a very shocked look on his face, like, this is real now, because we know he's been out on bond the whole time, which, of course, is a very real situation, but it's hard for it to sink in when you've been at home, you know, not behind bars for the past year and some change. But now he'll never be able to walk inside his home again. So, of course, a lot of emotion out here outside the courthouse here, Ted. A lot of, you know, differing opinions, but everything's seemingly civil for right now. Of course, there's a little bit of yelling. There's some people with megaphones. There's a bit of shouting, but everything's kind of tame right now. You can see that there are several sheriff's cars behind me. The security has been amped up a little bit, but it's a heavy scene here outside this Collin County Courthouse, Ted.
Yeah, I would imagine. Both sides were given an opportunity to argue in front of the jury during the penalty phase, and both sides declined that opportunity.
Yeah, they both declined, you know, statements to make, opening statements. They just went straight into the witnesses, which there's only the one singular witness, which was Karmelo's mother. There was no arguments back and forth. The defense asked a couple of questions. Do you feel that Karmelo regrets this? She says, yes, I know my son. He's very sorry about this. I just want the court to, you know, have mercy on him. And then the state, if you call it a cross-examination, all he said was, you know that you will still be a part of your son's life as any other mother on this earth. We know you love your son very much. And then he passed the witness, and then, Ted, that was it. Very brief, under 5 minutes there. But again, very emotional on both sides. The jury came back in looking, you know, very serious with their decision. They came back in, they gave the paper to the judge. The judge read the decision, and that's when, of course, the emotion broke loose. But there was a lot of hugs on the Metcalf side, a lot of tears, of course, on the Karmelo side, a lot of tears on the Metcalf side as well. So emotion on both sides here, and of course, emotion outside this courthouse. Got a little crowd building up out here right now in the parking lot, Ted.
Yeah, and this was the first time that Hunter Metcalf was in the courtroom. Of course, the twin that lost his brother for such a horrible, nonsensical reason at a track meet. They were both competing. Any observations about Hunter? Because this is the first time he's been in the courtroom. He wasn't called as a witness. What can you tell us?
Yeah, first time we saw him, Ted, and you know, a lot of you know, we were expecting him to be called under the prosecution's case. We thought that was going to be probably one of the final witnesses to kind of end their case with a bang, but they never called him. And, you know, we kind of assumed that because he wasn't inside the courtroom throughout the duration of the trial, and we know testifying witnesses cannot be inside the courtroom in the gallery while other witnesses are testifying. So that's why people thought he was going to take the stand, but of course he ultimately did not. But we saw him walk in today, a little expressionless, you know, kind of walked in, sat with his mom and dad, and once his verdict came down, there was some celebratory gestures on the Metcalf side, and then of course a lot of tight hugs and everything, but we only saw him for those brief minutes there before both sides eventually left the gallery and presumably left this courthouse now. We don't know if they're in the back room somewhere, but they walked out of the courtroom, of course. What happens now? The jury will be charged again with some brief instructions, I assume, before deliberations begin? Yeah, that's what's happening right now, Ted. They're having a charge conference right now, and then they'll go back there and then deliberate the punishment. So that's where we're at right now. That's why I was able to come out here and give this update to make sure our viewers are updated on the latest and greatest facts that come out of this case. But yeah, that's what they're doing right now. The attorneys are having a charge conference. Then it will go to that jury so they can deliberate what the fate will be of Karmelo Anthony. Of course, with that charge, he's facing 5 to 99 years behind bars. Very serious offense here, Ted, that he's now been convicted of. Yeah, that's the top charge against him. 5 to 99. Life without parole is not on the table, though, because of his age, correct? And so that this jury will decide that number to which he will be eligible for parole and or serve. I saw you looking to the side there. Things are quiet. We've seen different versions of, you know, people in each other's faces, then sort of relaxed. Are people leaving, going home, or staying? No, they're still congregating on both sides. There's kind of this, trying to describe it to you, right in front of the courthouse, there's kind of this middle road. There's middle road and some medians on both sides, but that middle road's kind of blocked off, and they're kind of in front of the barricades here with, I'm counting, roughly a dozen sheriff's deputies out here making sure that the peace is still here, but they're yelling across the way at each other, of course, the opposing, the opposing sides here, whether they're for the Metcalf family, for the Karmelo Anthony family. So they're over here now. It's, I don't know, maybe 100 people out here. Of course, some of them don't want to get in the shot, so I'll refrain from, you know, painting the camera over because I don't want to instigate or escalate anything, but there's plenty of law enforcement out here making sure everything is safe. And that has been the case throughout. This jury's worked very hard, and the judge has kept a very rapid pace. We thought maybe this case would go at least through the end of this week, but here we are on Tuesday and already wrapping it up. Even a 9-hour session on Saturday. Yeah, I mean, we started on Thursday when official testimony started. You know, jury selection was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. Got underway on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. 9 days each, minimal breaks, only 40-minute lunch breaks and a couple of 10-minute afternoon breaks. So the pedal was to the metal here during this case, Ted. We were all kind of shocked when the state rested after only 21 witnesses on Saturday, and then the defense called 3 witnesses Saturday. They called 3 witnesses Monday morning, and then they rested kind of abruptly yesterday. So they only called 6 witnesses. And of course, like you just said, we expected this to run through the end of the week, but here we are on Tuesday and a verdict, you know, in the early afternoon. So there was a really rapid pace here, and they're already getting into the punishment phase. Well, they've gone through the punishment phase. Now they're going to get to the sentencing phase. So they're really trying to put a bow on this thing, and I guess for this community to move on and continue to heal on both sides of the spectrum here. Will you get notification if, when a verdict has been reached in terms of the penalty phase? Absolutely. You know, I'll be there inside giving you the latest, Ted. I'll get a notification. We're on a thread here. All the media will know when to go back inside, when to be in there promptly, when they're done with that charge conference, and when they hand that off to the jury to begin deliberating. So, of course, when I get information, you guys will get information. All right, which has been the case throughout. And Cody Thomas has been our eyes and ears in this case with no camera. Cody, thank you as well. Doing a fantastic job for us, bringing the courtroom to life, including the guilty verdict and then the very short sentencing phase in this case. Sonny Slaughter is along with Judge Kimberly Mando, both still with us. And from a person watching, there was no way, Kimberly, that he was going to be found not guilty. I mean, he brought a knife
to a fist fight. There was, let's face it, yes, 17-year-old young man, brain was working, whatever, but please, you can't respond to somebody pushing you by killing them. So it can't be a surprise completely that this was the jury's verdict.
No, it was, yes. So it was not a surprise that they were going to find him with some criminal culpability. Yes, he admitted that he did it. So the question was whether this was a reckless act or was it intentional, that I intend to murder him. And I don't think that that was the evidence or what his intent was. It was reckless, it was irresponsible, yes. And that's why I think that manslaughter charge was appropriate for this scenario. I do not believe that he woke up that morning and decided that he wanted to murder someone with a 3.5-inch pocket knife. So I'm surprised by the murder verdict. I was not surprised that he would get found guilty of something today.
Sonny, the self-defense argument obviously didn't land with this jury, and there were so many options that he did have, even at his young age, and you can argue what he thought was imposing the Metcalf brothers, but the idea that this was self-defense might have been the wrong route for the defense to have taken in terms of their message to this jury, that, you know, he had so many other choices to make, including doing nothing. There was adults, coaches, people. They're not just by themselves walking down to some street. There were so many avenues away. The idea of self-defense, do you think that obviously it didn't hit with the jury, but could it have pushed them to all agree collectively very quickly, like, no, we don't believe that this was self-defense, rather than go with another form of manslaughter as your defense?
Well, I think the self-defense was the right one. However, as we were having our break, one of our other court TV and one of my longtime friends from Law and Crime, Bob Mata, he was texting me because he's watching it, along with so many of our court TV analysts. And he said that the defense, and he is right, had the opportunity to raise the adequate cause. He said at the punishment stage of the trial, the defendant may raise the issue as to whether he caused the death under immediate influence of sudden passion arising from adequate cause. If the defendant proves the issue in the affirmative by preponderance of the evidence, that the offense is a felony of the second degree. Now, this is under their statute. So he could have raised the sudden passion, the defense could have, and it would have talked about the provocation that they alluded to by the individual killed or another acting person that was killed. So I just don't think that, I think the self-defense was the right defense, but I don't think that this defense counsel did everything that they could have done in addressing the issue. And they didn't do anything at the mitigation phase.
Yeah, well,
at this point,
we're going off of the reporting out of the courtroom. We didn't watch it in real time the way the juries did, and they didn't take them long. Less than 3 hours, given the amount of testimony that they absorbed. They came back with that top charge. So the state did an excellent job, you could argue, in their presentation of this evidence. And now it is up to the same jury to decide the fate of Karmelo Anthony in terms of penalty, 5 to 99 years. It's a big decision. And we will wait for Cody to get that text. And as soon as he does, we will pass along what this jury decides in terms of penalty. For now, we're going to get a commercial break, and then we're going to switch over to Florida, the other case that we've been just glued to today, the George Pino case. The surviving kids that were on this boat have been taking the stand. The father of Lucy Fernandez, who lost her life, testified earlier today. It is gut-wrenching. That's where we're headed when we return. Matt Johnson will be here. Stay with us.
George Pino was reckless and he was culpably negligent, and as a result, Lucy's gone. And that's why at the end of this trial, I will ask you to return a verdict of guilty.
Welcome back to Court TV Live. I'm Matt Johnson, filling in for Cody Thomas today. Thanks for being with us. We will keep you updated on the penalty phase for Karmelo Anthony. As you know, Anthony found guilty of the top charge of murder in Texas, facing anywhere between 5 and 99 years behind bars. As we wait for the jury's recommendation there in Texas, let's do this. Let's head to Florida, where during opening statements yesterday, prosecutors painted a picture of reckless behavior. They allege that George Pino accelerated up to 47 miles per hour on the wrong side of a very narrow channel before slamming his boat into a marker. Prosecutors claim that GPS data proves that he was on a direct collision course that killed Lucy Fernandez and severely injured 2 others. Let's get you back to that courtroom now in Florida. One of the boat's passengers is on the stand.
Yes, Judge. State calls Carolina Monterey.
Please step forward if you would. Please the clerk, raise your right hand, be sworn.
Do you swear affirm testimony about the people do the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
This one.
Thank you. Please have a seat. I ask you to keep your voice maybe a little louder than you normally would, because as you're looking at the jury, it's actually away from the microphone, so it's a little awkward, so you do the voice up, okay? Thank you.
May I proceed, Judge?
Yes, sir.
Good afternoon. Can you please introduce yourself to the members of our jury?
Hi, I'm Carolina Monterey.
And Ms. Monterey, do you have a nickname that your friends call you by?
Gato.
Okay. And thank you for using the microphone. Have you ever testified in court before?
No.
Are you a little bit nervous?
Yes.
Okay, so we're going to take our time, and if you need a break, just let me know, okay? Ms. Monterey, how old are you today?
21.
Are you attending college?
Yes.
Where do you go to school?
Syracuse University.
And what are you studying at Syracuse?
Health and exercise science.
What do you hope to be when you graduate?
Something in pharmacy down the line.
Okay. And what year are you in?
Going to be a senior.
Did you grow up here in Miami-Dade County?
Yes.
Where did you grow up?
Where did I grow up?
Yeah, like what area of the county?
Like Kendall, South Miami in the past.
And where did you go to high school?
Westminster Christian School.
Now, we're here to talk about a crash that occurred the Labor Day weekend of 2022. Do you remember that weekend?
Yes.
And do you remember the day of the crash?
Yes.
So let's talk a little bit about the people that were there. Were you friends with Ceci Pino?
Yes.
How did you meet Ceci Pino?
Little Ceci?
Little Ceci.
We went to Epiphany together.
Is Epiphany high school or elementary school?
It's an elementary and middle school.
So was she someone that you knew a very long time?
Yes.
Was she a close friend of yours?
Yes.
Did she go to the same high school as you?
No.
Where did she go?
Carrollton.
Because you went to different high schools, how did the two of you meet?
How did we first meet?
Yeah.
At Epiphany. In elementary, or before elementary, like pre-K kindergarten.
Did you ever meet her parents?
Yes.
Did you spend a lot of time with George Pino?
Yes.
How about Mrs. Pino? And when I say that, I'm referring to George Pino's wife.
Yes.
Did your parents know the Pinos, Mr. and Mrs. Pino?
Yes.
Would you go over to their house?
Yes.
I want to ask you about some other people. Did you know a young lady named Lucy Fernandez?
Yes.
Was she also a friend of yours?
Yes.
Did she go to your school?
Epiphany, yes.
And how about your high school?
No.
Was Lucy a close friend of yours as well?
Yes.
How about a young lady named Kati Puig? Did you know her from high school?
Before elementary, I met her. So pre-K.
And was she also a close friend of yours?
Yes.
Now, did there come a time when you were invited to spend the Labor Day weekend at Ocean Reef?
Yes.
And I'm referring to the birthday party for Ceci.
Yes.
Were you excited for that weekend?
Yes.
Were your friends excited for that weekend?
Yes.
Did you know all of the girls that were attending this birthday weekend?
Yes.
Would you say you were like one friend group, that you all knew each other, spent time together, called each other on the phones?
Some of us were closer to certain people than others.
So, who did you go with to Ocean Reef? Were you in a car?
Yes.
And who did you go with?
Who was in the car?
Yes.
Gandhi, Little Ceci, Coco, Lucy, and I.
Did you pack up the trunk with all of your stuff for the weekend?
I think so.
Okay. And who was the driver of the car?
Gandhi.
So when you got to Ocean Reef, did you all have like a house that you were all staying at?
Yes.
Did you have your own room, or were you sharing a room with other girls?
I was sharing a room.
How many beds were in the room?
In my room?
Yeah.
2 beds.
So, just so that I understand, was it 2 girls per bed?
Yes.
Was this...
Hitting the pause button on this very important testimony so that I can get reaction from my guest for this hour. We have criminal defense attorney, former prosecutor, and magistrate judge, friend of the program, Kimberly Bando. Nice to see you. Thank you for sticking around for this case. This is a fascinating case there out of Florida, almost playing out like a civil case. And we have this important witness, one right after another, because it was a tragic event. It was a birthday party turned deadly after this boat crash. And that's what is at question here. Now, this young lady was right in the center of the boat before you get to the cockpit, so to speak, where the steering wheel is. So that's her point of view of the event. How difficult is it for these young people to testify and relive these moments?
I'm sure that it's extremely traumatic to recall what was supposed to be a great happy day, and then one of your friends died as a consequence of reckless conduct. So I can only imagine that they have to relive this and have to go through all the details of the tragedy that they experienced. I can't even imagine being in that scenario where someone that you love, that you were like in real time, you witnessed their death and you were a part of it and you know what caused it. And now you're having to testify against your other friend's father who is alleged to have committed the acts. So this is just trauma all around.
What do you make of testimony having to pause a few times because this defendant and his many breakdowns in court?
I think that it was obnoxious, that he was just putting on a spectacle for the jury. And I always tell my clients that juries actually read your demeanor and whether you're being authentic or not. And we all know people watch crime TV shows, court TV, and the like, and people know when you're being genuine and when you think that you're putting, some kind of act on, and that's gonna have a negative impact on how they see him and his authenticity and whether he's a truthful person, because it clearly was a performance. That's the energy that everyone felt, especially on social media.
Well, you've been at this for a long time. You've covered a lot of high-profile cases. You've been on the bench before. So what would you have done?
I would have, as a judge, I would have asked him to take a moment, and I would have had the jury leave or have him step out. But I definitely would have put a pause in it to have him get himself together, because that's just manipulating the jury, and that's just not tolerable. We want to have a fair trial and not, a performance by the defendant. I would have put a stop to that.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if he takes the stand after this performance so far, just day 2. Kimberly Bando, thank you so much for your time. I know that you need to get to court. I appreciate it, and I hope to see you soon. Coming up, we're going to take a short break. Coming up, more testimony out of Florida in the boat crash trial as we wait for the sentencing in the Karmelo Anthony case play out in Texas. This is Court TV Live, your front row seat to justice.
And this was, I guess, at the house where people were cooking for all the girls who were staying for the party weekend?
Yes.
Okay. You didn't go out on a boat on September 3rd, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Do you remember what you guys had for dinner that night?
I don't remember.
And that's totally fine. Do you remember around what time you went to bed that night?
Around like 2 a.m., say?
Now, when you went to sleep that night, did you know what the plans were for the 4th, the very next day?
Yes.
What were the plans for the girls to do on the 4th?
In the morning, I know we had pickleball, and then to go on the boat, and then dinner.
So, whose boat was it?
George Pino.
And was he the person who steered the boat when you went out to Ocean Reef?
Yes.
Had you ever been out on the water with him before?
Yes.
Had you been to Ocean Reef before?
Yes.
Had you been to this specific house where you stayed on this weekend?
No.
So this was the first time that you were at the house this weekend that we're talking about?
Yes.
Okay. So when you wake up, was it a nice sunny day?
I think so, yes.
Okay. Clear skies?
Yes.
Did you go out and play pickleball?
Yes.
And just in case any of our jurors don't know, what is pickleball?
It's kind of like tennis, but with not a net. Does that make sense?
And less running?
Yes.
Okay. So how long would you say you played pickleball for?
Like 2 hours. I'm not sure, but I would say 2 hours.
Did all the girls go to play pickleball?
I think so.
After you left playing pickleball, did you go back to the house to change your clothes?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. So when you boarded the boat, can you tell me the girls that boarded the boat with you?
I don't remember boarding the boat. I don't remember who I was with when I boarded the boat.
Judge, may I approach the witness? Sure. Just to help you out, Ms. Monterey, this is already in evidence.
And we're going to hit the pause button there. We're approaching the top of the hour. Don't go anywhere. Coming up, jury watch in the state of Texas as we wait for the jury's recommendation and more testimony out of Florida in the deadly boat crash trial. This is Court TV Live.
sort of towards the bottom?
Yes.
Was anyone other than the people on this list on the boat, or were these everyone? We'll take your time.
I believe this.
Okay. Judge, may I publish this again? What were all the girls wearing when they got on the boat?
I think bathing suits.
Okay, that would make sense. You're going to the sandbar. Was there a cooler on the boat?
Yes.
Now, in the cooler, was it stocked with drinks?
Yes.
Was there some alcoholic drinks?
Yes.
Was there like alcoholic seltzers? I guess one type would be Truly.
Yes.
Was there any beer?
Yes.
And how long would you say the trip was to the sandbar?
$30 minutes? I'm not sure though. I would guess 30 minutes.
You're estimating. Okay. So on the way to the sandbar, did you have anything to drink on the way?
I don't remember.
Okay. Now, when you get to the sandbar, can you describe sort of what you see? Were there other boats there?
I don't remember right when we got there were other boats, but throughout the day there was.
So was there, I guess, another boat with young men that were there that you and your friends knew?
Yes.
And would the girls on your boat go back and forth between the Pino boat and the boys' boat?
Yes.
Would you say that the boys on that boat were, part of your friend group?
Yes.
And were they there also in part to celebrate Ceci Pino's birthday?
Yes.
Okay. Now, did you have to swim from boat to boat?
Yes.
Who would you say you spent the most time with?
I don't remember, but if I had to guess, Coco, I do.
Was Coco the person that you were closest friends with that was there?
Yes.
All right. When you were hanging out, were you just kind of enjoying the day, having a fun time with your friends?
Yes.
Did you drink any of the drinks that were packed in the cooler while you were at the sandbar?
Yes.
Do you remember what kind of drink you had?
Truly's.
And Truly's, like I mentioned earlier, is like an alcoholic seltzer water?
Yes, I believe.
Were your friends drinking with you?
Yes.
How about the adults? Did you see George Pino holding a beer?
Yes.
I'm assuming you weren't focused on George Pino while you're playing with your friends, were you?
Sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, I guess what I'm trying to say is, were you like counting the amount of drinks that George Pino was having?
No.
But you can't say that you did see him having a beer in his hand at one point?
Yes.
Okay. Did you actually get on the boys' boat?
I think so.
Was there like music at the sandbar?
Yes, I think so.
Did you see, or actually, I don't know if I asked you, do you know Lucy's parents?
Yes.
Did you see Lucy's parents at the sandbar?
Yes.
Okay. Did you ever speak to them at all?
I think so.
Just kind of like, hi, how are you, and stuff?
Yes.
All right. How long would you say you stayed at the sandbar before it was time to go back to the house? And you can estimate.
Like 3-4 hours is my estimate.
While you were there, were you having a fun time?
Yes.
Did it seem like everyone was having a fun time?
Yes.
At some point, do you go back on George Pino's boat to return to the home?
Yes.
And before we get there, let me just show you a photo. May I approach you? So this is already evidence, but I just want to show it to you. This is stage 1. Is this your friend Lucy?
Yes.
May I republish these, Judge, as I go?
Yes.
Thank you. And then this is already in evidence as well. This is dates 10 that I'm showing you. Ms. Monterey, do you see yourself in this photo?
Yes.
Okay, and one of your friends has already labeled this photo. Was she right?
Yes.
Is that you?
Yes.
Okay. And you're in the second from the bottom right?
I believe so. Yes.
Now, earlier today, we watched a video here in court that had the music Uptown Girl. Do you remember you all kind of having fun listening to Uptown Girl and being with the video recordings?
Yes.
And you've seen that before?
Yes.
All right. Judge, may I republish what's in evidence states 9? Judge, can the witness step down from the witness stand to help me publish the video?
That'd be fine. Keep your voice up, please, ma'am, okay?
Ms. Margaret, could you join me over here? And I'm just going to sit down so I don't block you. If you could stand right here and then take a look at the video up here that I'm about to play. You able to see it?
Yes.
So can you tell the jurors and speak loudly who the girls are in the video?
Yes.
Okay.
This is Coco Aguilar. This is Natalia Reed. That's Claudia Portucadero. That is Cami Alvarez. And here on the right, I think that's Scotty Quigg.
And I'll play a little bit and we'll keep going, okay? Who is that on the left?
That is me on the left, Lena Montreal.
We're showing the defense states 11. May I approach, Judge? Ms. Monterey, I'm showing you this is already in evidence. It states 11, and one of your friends already labeled this as well, but I just want to make sure if this is correct. Were you sitting at position 8 on your return trip back to Ocean Reef?
Yes.
And was Lucy sitting to your immediate right?
Yes.
Now, why did you choose to sit in the middle?
Because I've always been kind of scared of boats.
And so, did you ask to switch seats with Lucy so you could sit in the middle?
Yes.
So prior to leaving, I guess Lucy moved to your right and you moved into the center.
Yes.
Okay. So when you begin the trip back to Ocean Reef, you mentioned that you had some alcohol. Would you say you were feeling the effects of the alcohol?
Yes.
And you tell me if this word would be the right word. Were you feeling, I guess, buzzed?
Yes.
Were you feeling drunk?
No.
Okay. So you were affected by it, but you still had your senses for the most part. Would that be accurate?
Yes.
Okay. On the return trip back, were you all still listening to music and dancing?
Yes.
And when I say dancing, I don't mean full-blown moving around, but, I guess going back and forth and enjoying the music, enjoying yourselves.
Yes.
Okay. Now, as you're going towards Ocean Reef, is there anything out of the ordinary or unusual before the crash occurs?
No.
Was the impact, was it sudden?
That means unexpected, right? Yes.
All right, we're going to hit the pause button right there because we do have to take a short break. Also, we are getting some notes from the courtroom there in Texas from Cody Thomas. Closings have started in the penalty phase. We'll keep you posted on the sentencing of Karmelo Anthony. Plus, again, more testimony out of Florida in the George Pino manslaughter trial. We'll be right back.